Did Nostradamus predict a major change for Black America? His prophecies, filled with mysterious symbols, have shocked historians for centuries. But could one of his predictions be about to come true? The strange part, what he foresaw might already be unfolding right before our eyes. From historical struggles to today's shifting tides, the pieces are falling into place. Stay with us as we explore how this ancient prophecy could reveal what's next for Black America. Michel de Nostradamus, better known as Nostradamus, is a name that sparks intrigue, fear, and fascination. Born in 1503, he was a man ahead of his time. So far ahead, in fact, that his words are still debated centuries later. As a physician, astrologer, and prophet, Nostradamus has become a legend. Known not just for his medical practices, but for the haunting predictions he made about the future. His writings, encrypted in poetic quatrains, seem to speak of events that would shake the world to its core. Events that happened long after his death. But what's truly chilling is that some of those predictions feel like they were meant for today. Many people are still mesmerized by his prophecies. For some, they serve as a warning. For others, a puzzle that demands to be solved. His accuracy is nothing short of astonishing. Nostradamus predicted major world events with unsettling precision. The rise of Hitler, the French Revolution, and even the 9/11 attacks. He spoke of great wars, political upheaval, and natural disasters, all with such clarity that it's impossible not to wonder, how did he know? Was it pure coincidence? Or was Nostradamus somehow tapping into something beyond our understanding? But it's not just the past that draws us in. It's what lies ahead. His cryptic quatrains have been interpreted by many as prophecies for the future, and some of them have a chilling relevance to Black America. His writings about upheaval, social change, and the struggle for freedom can be seen as a foreshadowing of the battles yet to come. While some dismiss his work as nothing more than riddles, others look at it with wide-eyed disbelief, seeing connections between his words and the world we live in now. It's this sense of mystery and emotion that makes Nostradamus so compelling. We are drawn to him because his words seem to echo through time, carrying with them a sense of urgency, a call to prepare for what's next. But the deeper you dive into his work, the more it seems that there's something more. Something hidden within those lines, waiting to be uncovered. Historians and scholars have spent centuries analyzing his prophecies. But with every interpretation, there's a feeling that we're only scratching the surface. What if there's a deeper truth? One that we are only now beginning to understand. Nostradamus wasn't just a man. He was a visionary. Someone who saw a future beyond his own. His words, though puzzling, were not meant to frighten us. They were meant to prepare us for the inevitable. And as we look at the state of the world today, his predictions might hold the key to understanding what's next for Black America. There's something stirring in the air, something we can't quite put our finger on. An energy, a change that's coming. As you keep watching, you'll begin to see how Nostradamus's cryptic prophecies might be pointing us to the future of Black America. But before we dive into that, we must first understand the depths of what he saw, and what it might mean for us all. As we venture further into the world of Nostradamus, the deeper we dig, the more it feels like the future is staring us in the face. And it's not just any future, but one that may hold crucial implications for Black America. Nostradamus was not just a man, he was a seer, someone who glimpsed into the unfolding fabric of time. His words, veiled in mysticism and riddles, have always sparked a sense of dread and wonder. But there's one prophecy, in particular, that stands out, a prophecy that many believe holds eerie relevance for what lies ahead for Black America. In one of his most cryptic quatrains, Nostradamus wrote, "The great leader will be struck down by the people. In a place of power, the revolution begins. A race will rise, demanding equality and justice. The world will watch as the tides of history turn." At first glance, these words may appear to be just another mysterious quatrain lost in time. But as we peel back the layers, something extraordinary begins to emerge. Could Nostradamus have been predicting a future revolution, not just a political one, but a revolution for equality, justice, and the rights of a people long oppressed? Could this be a vision of Black America rising up, demanding what it has long been denied? Nostradamus's words, though centuries old, seem to perfectly capture the tension that is palpable in today's society. We are seeing the fight for justice intensifying on the streets, in courtrooms, and in the hearts of millions of people around the world. The Black Lives Matter movement, the calls for reparations, the battle against systemic racism. In every corner, we are witnessing a revolution, one that is fueled by centuries of inequality, one that demands change. Could this revolution be the one Nostradamus was referring to? The more we look into his work, the more it seems that Nostradamus wasn't just speaking of vague, distant futures. He had an uncanny ability to capture moments of great societal upheaval, moments that felt impossible at the time, but unfolded before our eyes in the most shocking of ways. Take, for example, his prophecy about the rise of a dictator. Many historians have long pointed to his prediction about a figure rising in the 20th century who would bring about unimaginable destruction. At the time, the notion seemed impossible, but in the rise of Adolf Hitler, it became undeniable that Nostradamus had seen something that was to come. Similarly, Nostradamus spoke of a great transformation of nations, where societies would break free from their old structures. At first, these prophecies seemed abstract, but history has shown us that change is inevitable. The fall of the Soviet Union, the civil rights movements, and even the Black Power movements in the 60s and 70s, all of these seismic shifts align with his words. Nostradamus didn't predict specifics. He predicted change, the turning of the tides, the shaking of systems that once seemed unbreakable. His prophecies were not about minor events, but about the transformation of societies. Now, looking at Black America's present struggles, we see echoes of these ancient words. The world is watching as Black America wages its battle for equality, justice, and recognition. The voices, once silenced, are now demanding to be heard. The revolution, as Nostradamus might have seen it, is alive and kicking. But it's only just beginning. We are on the edge of something, a shift in history, a moment of reckoning. But Nostradamus didn't just speak of a fight for justice. He also spoke of a leader, someone who would rise amidst the struggle. Could this be a new leader for Black America? One who will lead the charge, who will stand at the forefront of this battle for a better future, a symbol of hope, who will become the face of change? The answer is still unknown, but one thing is clear. Nostradamus foresaw a time when the power structures would be challenged, and history would turn. As we look at what's happening today, Nostradamus's prophecy feels more real than ever. Could his words be a warning, a message, or simply a reflection of the inevitable truth? Whatever the case, we're at a turning point. And, as history shows us, we may very well be living through the time he so accurately described. To understand the weight of Nostradamus's prophecies, we must first look back to the very roots of Black America's history. It's here that we begin to see the echoes of Nostradamus's cryptic words, almost as if the struggles, the revolutions, and the turning points of Black America were written into the very fabric of time. These events, which shaped the past, may have been the very moments Nostradamus foresaw centuries ago. What if the struggles of Black America weren't just coincidences? What if they were part of a grander pattern that Nostradamus predicted long before they unfolded? At the heart of this history lies the unimaginable pain of slavery, an institution that dehumanized and oppressed millions of Black individuals for centuries. The chains of bondage bound not just bodies, but spirits, dreams, and aspirations. For centuries, Black Americans fought to break free from the suffocating grip of oppression. Yet what we see in the past isn't just a story of suffering. It's also a story of resilience and the unbreakable spirit of a people who refused to give up. The seeds of revolution were sown in those dark times, as generations passed down the unshakable hope that one day freedom would come. This is where the connection to Nostradamus becomes clear. His words spoke of struggles, of systems collapsing, of a people rising against tyranny. Could the end of slavery have been the first fulfillment of his prophecy? The Emancipation Proclamation in 1863 shattered the chains that bound Black America. But the fight was far from over. The civil rights movement would soon rise from the ashes of that struggle, as Black Americans again took to the streets, their voices raised against the systems that still sought to keep them down. In this fight for civil rights, we begin to see the echoes of Nostradamus. In his quatrains, he spoke of revolutions, of rising nations, of rebellions against power. As Martin Luther King Jr. and others led the charge in the 1960s, they became the embodiment of the very change Nostradamus might have envisioned. The March on Washington, the fight against segregation, the call for equality, all of these were part of a greater movement, a moment in time that had been prophesied long before. And yet, as progress was made, the struggle didn't cease. In fact, it morphed and took on new forms as new battles emerged, and it seems that Nostradamus could have foreseen this too. The patterns of resistance that marked the civil rights era also align with what Nostradamus predicted for the future. A race rising for justice. Could this be the continuing story of Black America? What we see today, the fight for Black Lives Matter, the call for reparations, the demand for equal justice under the law, it's all part of the same struggle that's been carried through history, from slavery to the civil rights movement, and now into a new age of revolution and awakening. The pieces are falling into place as Black America continues to demand what it has long been denied: equality, justice, and freedom. But Nostradamus didn't just foresee the struggles. He also saw the victories. His prophecies weren't just warnings of turmoil, they were also glimpses of the potential for triumph. As we look at the events of the past, we see a pattern of resilience emerging. As the world continues to change, there's a growing sense that the tides of history are shifting. And it's Black America that's leading the charge. If you've been paying attention to the headlines, you know that the fight for justice, equality, and freedom is no longer a quiet plea. It's a resounding cry that echoes through the streets, demanding to be heard, demanding to be answered. The struggle has reached a boiling point, and in many ways, it feels as if we are witnessing a revolution, not just a social movement, but a moment of reckoning that could alter the course of history. The Black Lives Matter movement has become a beacon of hope for millions. What began as a response to systemic racism has evolved into a global call for change, reverberating across continents and cultures. Protests, marches, activism, and rallies have become the new normal as individuals from all walks of life unite in their demand for a world that values justice and equality. Yet, this powerful moment of unity is not just a fight against injustice. It's a fight for identity, a fight for recognition that has been long denied. And in the midst of this storm of emotions, there's a feeling of inevitability in the air, as if the world is on the brink of something huge. It's here, in the current struggles of Black America, that we can start to see how Nostradamus's cryptic warnings may be more relevant than ever. His prophecies of revolution, of upheaval and transformation, seem to align so perfectly with the current events. In his writings, he often spoke of moments when the old systems would fall and the oppressed would rise. And that's exactly what we're witnessing today. The protests, the demands for reparations, the struggles in the courtroom, and even the shift in political power, all of these are signs that the world is changing, and Black America is at the forefront of this revolution. But beyond the surface, there's an even deeper mystery that looms. Nostradamus didn't just predict a revolution, he predicted a great shift in power, one where the oppressed would gain what was rightfully theirs. In our present-day context, this shift isn't just about equal rights, it's about empowerment. We see Black culture taking over the mainstream: music, fashion, media, art. Black voices are being heard in ways they never have before. But there's more to this shift than just cultural recognition. It's about control, autonomy, and the redistribution of power. And while this moment is powerful, there's still a sense of unanswered questions. Will Black America achieve its rightful place in the world? Will this revolution lead to the kind of change Nostradamus foresaw? Or will it be met with resistance that only serves to deepen the divide? As the fight for equality intensifies, it becomes clearer that this battle is not just political. It's a battle for the soul of a nation. The world is watching closely, unsure of what will happen next. But in the midst of all this uncertainty, one thing is undeniable. Nostradamus's prophecies were not mere visions. They were warnings, and we are living through the moment he predicted. The question is, what will we do with it? As we stand on the edge of this monumental moment in history, we are left with a single, overwhelming question. What happens next? The events unfolding before our eyes, the fight for justice, the rise of new voices, the demand for equality, are part of a larger narrative, one that has been hinted at by Nostradamus's cryptic quatrains. But the future remains shrouded in mystery. Where will these winds of change take us? Will we experience growth, a new era of prosperity and unity, or will the struggle continue, tearing at the very fabric of society? Nostradamus's prophecies have long been interpreted as both warnings and revelations. They speak of destruction, yes, but they also speak of rebirth. Could it be that the turmoil we are witnessing today is merely the prelude to something greater, something that will ultimately reshape the world for the better? Or is this just the beginning of a deeper, more painful struggle? A struggle that will challenge the very heart of Black America's identity and future? For many, the vision of the future is one of growth and empowerment. We are seeing the world begin to wake up to the truth that the struggles of Black America are not just the struggles of one community, but of humanity itself. In this new era, the voices of the oppressed are rising louder than ever before. The idea of true equality, where all races, genders, and identities are not only accepted but celebrated, is within our reach. Nostradamus himself wrote of a time when the oppressed will rise and the chains will fall. Could this be the moment he foresaw? Could we be standing at the dawn of a new era of justice, where Black America steps into its rightful place at the heart of the nation? The rise of Black leaders, entrepreneurs, and activists is a powerful testament to the strength and resilience of this community. Whether in politics, media, or social justice, Black voices are increasingly being heard and respected. The cultural impact is undeniable. Black excellence is no longer confined to the shadows. It is being recognized and celebrated globally. The success of Black culture in music, film, art, and more speaks to the fact that Black America is not merely a survivor, but a leader in the global cultural landscape. But this growth isn't just cultural. It's also political and economic. We are witnessing the rise of Black-owned businesses, Black political leaders, and a more empowered Black middle class. The economy of Black America is beginning to grow stronger, more self-sustaining. The future of education, healthcare, and technology holds promises of greater access, better opportunities, and a seat at the table. In this vision of the future, unity, equality, and empowerment pave the way for a prosperous world. But there is another possibility, a far more alarming one. Despite the progress we have made, there are forces at play that continue to resist this change. In Nostradamus's writings, there is often a recurring theme of resistance to transformation, of systems of power clinging to control. What if the revolution we are witnessing today is met with a counter-revolution? One that seeks to silence the voices of the oppressed, one that uses fear, violence, and oppression to stop the change before it gains too much momentum? We are already seeing the rise of backlash. Attempts to roll back the rights of minorities, attacks on the right to protest, and laws designed to restrict voting rights. The rise of white supremacy and the division within the nation threaten to push us into another dark period. Nostradamus warned of chaos. Could this chaos be the last desperate attempt of the old world order to maintain its grip on power? If the forces of resistance win, the road ahead could be long and painful. It could be a road where progress is slowed, where the fight for equality becomes a battle for survival, where every step forward is met with 2 steps back. This is a reality that many fear but must be acknowledged. It is a reality where hope may seem distant, and the weight of history's injustices feels too heavy to overcome. As experts continue to analyze Nostradamus' work, there are countless theories about what his prophecies mean for us today. Some believe that we are nearing the end of an age, a time when the old systems of power must collapse to make room for the new. Others point to his writings about leaders rising in times of great unrest, and argue that the great leader Nostradamus predicted is yet to emerge, someone who will guide Black America through this revolution toward a brighter future. But one thing is certain: the future is unwritten. Nostradamus' prophecies are not set in stone. They are possibilities, not certainties. They are warnings, not absolute truths. And as we move forward, we must ask ourselves, what will we do with this opportunity? Will we embrace the change and forge a new path toward equality and justice? Or will we allow fear and resistance to drag us back into the shadows? As we stand on the precipice of history, the question that haunts us all remains unanswered. What comes next? We have seen the past, the struggles, the victories, the battles fought and won. We have witnessed the rise of movements, of voices that were once silenced. But as we look ahead, we are forced to wonder, are we about to enter a new chapter, one that leads us to a better future? Or are we caught in a never-ending cycle of struggle, trapped in history's endless loop? Nostradamus' prophecies have always been a source of fascination and fear. His writings, mysterious and enigmatic, have long been interpreted in countless ways, each theory more captivating than the last. But as we look at the world today, it's impossible to ignore the sense that we are standing at the intersection of his predictions and our own reality. Every moment feels like it could tip the balance between progress and chaos. Nostradamus spoke of revolutions and great upheavals, of leaders rising to guide the oppressed into a new world. Could we be witnessing this very thing right now? Is Black America on the verge of a new era, one where justice and equality finally prevail? But then, there's another possibility, a darker, more chilling one. Could it be that we are stuck in a cycle of history, forever repeating the same mistakes, forever caught in the tug-of-war between oppression and liberation? Could Nostradamus' prophecy be a warning, a dire message about the fate that awaits us if we don't break free from the chains that bind us? The signs are everywhere. The protests, the fights for justice, the voices rising in unison. But we must ask ourselves, is this the revolution Nostradamus foretold? Or is it merely another chapter in the ongoing struggle that seems endless, a struggle that may never fully come to an end? It's easy to get lost in the optimism of the moment. It's easy to believe that the world is finally waking up, that Black America is on the cusp of something incredible, something transformative. The voices are louder than ever. The demand for change is undeniable. But as we look at the forces of resistance, those who wish to maintain the status quo, it becomes clear that the road ahead will not be without its obstacles. Nostradamus often spoke of the dark forces that would seek to hold back the inevitable. He warned that change would never come easily, that those in power would resist it with everything they had. And yet, even as we face these challenges, there's still hope. Hope that the revolution will lead to a brighter future. Hope that the oppressed will rise and take their rightful place in the world. But what if that hope is only an illusion? What if the struggle is destined to continue, with no clear resolution in sight? Are we simply repeating the same patterns of history, locked in a cycle that can never be broken? As we look to the future, we must ask ourselves, what is the true meaning of Nostradamus' prophecy? Was he warning us, or was he simply pointing out the undeniable truth that history tends to repeat itself? Could it be that, no matter how hard we try, we are bound to walk the same paths, facing the same challenges, over and over again? The uncertainty is staggering. We stand at the edge of something monumental, and yet we don't know what that something is. Will we see the rise of a leader who will guide us to victory? Or will the forces of resistance grow stronger, pushing us further back into the shadows? The answers are elusive, shrouded in mystery. But here's the thing. We are part of this story. We hold the power to shape what happens next. Nostradamus may have seen the future, but it is we who must decide how it unfolds. Will we break free from the patterns of the past, or will we allow ourselves to be swept away by the forces that seek to keep us down? The mystery remains unsolved. Nostradamus's words were not meant to be definitive answers. They were meant to provoke thought, to inspire change, to leave us questioning the world we live in and the future we are building. What do you think? Is this the revolution that will change everything? Or are we stuck in a never-ending loop of struggle? So, what do you think? Was Nostradamus warning us about the future? Or is history simply repeating itself? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. We want to hear from you. Your perspective matters, and together we can continue this conversation and unravel the mysteries of the past to shape the future. If you haven't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button. You don't want to miss the next part of this journey. Like this video if you believe that change is coming, and share it with someone who needs to hear this message. The conversation is just beginning, and we want you to be a part of it.